Welcome to the Outer Rim Rookie. My name's Rob Williams, and I'm here with
Terry Chu
of Panda Props
Yeah.
on Etsy.
Yes.
And
Facebook.
And Facebook.
And Instagram.
And Instagram. And all that sort of stuff. And myself, well, Generation X Me podcast as well. But today, Outer Rim Rookie, we are making a butt flap.
A flap for your butt.
A flap for your butt. All right. I'm looking forward to this one. So what is a butt flap, first of all?
Well, we're gonna try to make a butt flap
Okay.
and the inner suede of your thighs.
Woo-hoo!
We'll see how far we get. So for the Biker Scout, the butt flap was a suede square that just covered your butt. And I think it was because there were so many behind shots in Return of the Jedi where he's kind of crouched over. They didn't want just like, oh, look, there's pockets or pants.
Right.
It was sort of just a covering thing. That's all it is.
But in canon, it's the kick up of the dirt and the I'm assuming the Ewok poodoo that just kind of kicks up as you're driving.
It's like people that buy Winnebagos or campers with those those broom things behind the tires. Maybe, I don't know.
But no bantha testicles hanging from the back either.
I don't think so.
No, that's we're not going to have that. No. Went too far, but that's okay. It's butts and thighs today. Yeah. So we're doing the butt flap and the thighs. It's all made of suede.
Yeah, suede in the original
Faux
costume
suede.
is real suede. Yeah. We're using fake suede. It's just easier to sew. Yeah.
All right, so let's get to it.
All right.
Ready.
Is it like no? That's too. No, not G-rated.
Okay, so what's happening here? Why have I got my ass to the? Sorry, why do I got my backside to the camera?
We are going to be measuring your posterior area.
Asteroid belt.
For the size of the butt flap. So it's just a piece of suede that's going to get sewn to the jumpsuit, and there's a very sort of specific fit to it in terms of size. So you can make it too big, you can make it too small. Want to get it just right.
Want to get it just right.
So we're going to measure your butt.
I've been doing my Kegels.
All right.
All right.
Turn around.
Do I clench?
Turn around. Face the wall.
All right.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do. You've actually.
I got to keep my mic towards you.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
You don't actually want to make the butt flap too wide. It doesn't cover the full width of your body.
All right.
It's actually a little bit narrower than that. So, you're going to be in like the 11.5-inch wide realm. And it's going to get sewn right about here at the waistline. You can go here or here, whatever's easier. And then for the length, wherever the bottom of your buttocks are, you actually don't want the butt flap to be that low. You want it to be slightly above that. So we're talking, I guess, it's easier to sew the butt flap, I think, above the waistline, because then you have access to the zipper, right? It zips all the way down. Yeah. And also, if you are bending over, pretending you're posing, riding on a speeder bike or whatever, you're not going to have your belt right up and then see the seam where the butt flap is, right? So if it's a little bit higher, it's going to get covered by everything anyways, but I always think it's safer just to hide it a little bit higher, right? But so we're talking like 11.5 wide by, if we're going to go above, I'd say about 10 inches, right? So that puts it about there as opposed to the buttocks.
So for those playing at home, keep track of these numbers.
11.5 and 10 for you in particular. Okay?
Oh, you're a trusting friend, sir. I trust you. All right, so let's go.
Start sewing.
Let's go measure. Let's go sew instead. Yeah.
All right, so we measured Rob's butt, and the butt flap needs to be 11.5 by 10 inches. So we just took a piece of paper. It's going to be a rectangle, and we're going to use this as a template. Transfer this onto the suede, the fake suede. Because the fake suede material that we have is quite light, we might double up the fabric. So we're, two of them essentially, and then sew them together just to give it a little bit more weight. That's it.
All right, so we have cut them out.
Yep.
We've ironed the little creases onto them just so we know where to sew and give them some stability, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And this is my butt flap. This is the second one you're making for a friend.
That's right.
Right, and using your butt as the guideline.
Yeah, we're almost the same size. So since we got the 2 sewing machines here, I thought we'd kind of double up on our efforts and our time and help somebody out. So
because as you were saying, it is kind of thin, so we're going to double it up.
yeah. Even the real ones, the suede. I mean, you can use a real piece of suede and they can get very thick. So, but if your sewing machine doesn't really handle thick materials, I mean, they obviously had access to industrial machines and that sort of thing, right? So we just need to simulate the look.
Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna do.
And just as a bonus, I did buy myself some fabric scissors.
You are fully legit.
Do not use this on paper.
No.
It's only for fabric. So, all right, let's get sewing.
So we've run into a small issue. Small. We can still deal with it, right? So on some of these jumpsuits, this is a red cap jumpsuit, and you can see the butt flap fits on there, and there's just a couple darts at the top here, and that allows for a narrower waist and wider at the chest. But the back of Rob's suit, it's got an elastic. Oh, I'm just going to pull this down so you can't see it. It's got this elastic here, which allows for expansion. When you're wearing the suit, when you're moving around, but we don't really want to sew like right over that, because if Rob's moving around and sitting down, and all these the sort of darts here, they're not really darts, it's just where it's gathered from the elastic. We don't want to sew straight across that, because if you sit down and it does stretch, it's going to go and it's going to rip the seams
right
off.
apart.
So I think what we're going to do, Rob's already holding it, we're going to sew an elastic belt. So for a basic 501st standard, the butt flap just needs to be there. They don't really care so much about how it's attached. So even on my suit, it's actually a little separate belt. So we're just going to sew some Velcro on here, and then we'll attach the butt flap to that, and we're good to go.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
There we go.
How'd it turn out?
I think it went well.
Yeah.
I still need to improve on my sewing job, but other than that, there it is. Butt flap
Nice.
on a belt.
It's flappy.
And I can whip it off. Done. Look at that.
Look at that. Tear off.
Like Tarzan's
flap.
loincloth.
But that's a great solution for having it being adjustable, and you don't have to worry about the gathers in the back, right? So it turned out really well.
Awesome.
All right.
What's next?
I think we will try to make some templates for the thigh patches. Alright, so we are going to make a template for the inner thigh patches, which are made out of the same fake suede material as the butt flap. We're obviously going to do this on Rob, but I've got a second jumpsuit that I'm helping somebody out with, and so here's a way to do it yourself if you don't have somebody else helping. So what you can do is you can take an old pair of pants and an old pair of jeans or something that fit you, and you could literally draw on the fabric and then cut that out and transfer that to your jumpsuit. If you don't have access to a spare pair of pants, here's another way that you can make a really quick template, which is just to cover the area with masking tape. Okay, and then that way what you can do is you can literally draw directly on your masking tape where you want your thigh patch to be, right? And here I'm going to mark actually where the top of the knee pad is, just to make sure I'm not interfering with it. And I'll look at reference pictures and stuff too when I'm doing this, but at least this gives you a very general idea of sort of how big the thigh patch needs to be. One thing to be aware of is you don't need to You might not need to sew it all the way in, because what's going to happen is the cummerbund is sort of triangle shaped, right? And it's going to cover a big portion of the suede patch. So, you know, you don't need to worry about going all the way in and in full coverage all the way underneath, but you do want to make sure that there's enough that when you move around, you know, you don't see a gap or something like that. So we're going to do this on the front and the back, and then we're going to take the masking tape off, transfer it to the cardboard, and then we can cut that out so we got nice sturdy templates to transfer to our fabric. Okay, so we finished our thigh templates and we transferred the patterns onto our fabric, and the way that we did them was this was the left thigh and the blue side was out. So to do our first you know, transfer, we put the blue side, you know, facing down, and then the suede is on the opposite side. So then that way that's our left. We flip it over and then we'll have our right. So we've done that. We've transferred the template onto the fabric. And then what you want to do, if you want to make it nice, is you want to roll the edge or fold the edge, and then before you stitch it onto your jumpsuit. But because there's so many curves, what you want to do is actually cut darts into the fabric. So if there's a curved section like this, you want to make little like V cuts or straight cuts if you want, right? The V cuts kind of look nicer, but you know, you're going to be trimming all this stuff off afterwards anyway. So you're going to this will allow you to kind of bend these tight corners like this, right? And then you're going to iron it and then sew it, and then it's going to look like this after it's all trimmed out. So these little tabs, these little darts used to be longer, but I've already sewn it, trimmed it off. So when we sew that onto the jumpsuit, it's going to look like this on the other side, which is all nice and neat. Right.
I don't know what to do with my hands. All right, so put a long night in. It's 12:18 now. I'm looking at the clock at midnight, but we really got a lot done, and yet there's still so much to do with this one. So what we did today, let's try this one more time. Today, what did we accomplish?
We sewed your butt flap, right?
Yeah, with the belt.
With the belt, which was an additional thing.
Yeah.
We taped up your jumpsuit to create a template for the inner thigh patches. Yeah. You created cardboard templates for that, transferred that to the fabric, cut them out, and started cutting darts and ironing them out. So that's just going to get a nice finished edge.
Yeah, so there's an example of what I've been cutting, and just been cutting around, and this one I've actually been ironing. So my homework today, for the next time, is to iron and sew that all together.
Right.
Yeah, and then the next day, the next episode, we're going to sew it onto the suit.
Yeah, we'll pin it to the suit and then sew the thigh patches on.
Yep.
There's a 2-inch elastic that has to go around the outside of your thigh, so we'll add that afterwards.
Yeah.
Some people like to try to pin it in at the same time. It might not be that easy because we're going to have to seam rip the sides to get access to sewing the inner thigh patch on.
So we have to actually cut up the leg and then to get access inside the leg to sew it on.
Yeah.
And then sew back the leg again.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you remember that dress that Angelina Jolie wore where she had like the leg sticking out on one side? It's gonna be like that, but both sides.
Sure, I just can't leave it like that for the Scout Trooper.
You can if
I can
you
be
want.
fashionable on
that could be the
Endor.
new leggy, VF version.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Just stand there showing a little leg as I'm flying by Ewoks. That's awesome. But thank you so much. Where can we find, again, Panda Props?
Panda Props. You can find me on Facebook at Panda Props and Costumes, and on Instagram at Panda Props Costumes.
Sorry, it's Panda Props Costumes.
With an N.
With an N. For a nice job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously you can find me on the Generation X-Wing podcast, and as well here on YouTube, Generation X-Wing on YouTube. Outer Rim Rookie is found on Facebook, and Generation X-Wing is found on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the website. We got T-shirts, we've got Patreon. We got an episode coming out every Wednesday regarding pop culture of the 80s, 90s, and today, and lots of great stuff. And other than that, thank you very much. And next week we're going to finish up the butt flap. Correction, we've finished the butt flap. We're going to finish up the thigh patches. I am very tired. It is late, so
And we're very close.
yes.
Actually.
So just to do a quick update. I was trying to calculate about 85% done.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so we still have to do a vest. We still, again, the thigh. We still have to do belt, and there's something else.
Strap everything together.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the last thing to kind of get it all fitted properly with all your undergarments first, and then and hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We'll be done soon.
Yeah, this is as of this recording, it is November, mid-November, and my new goal number 27, is to get on the Fan Expo in March. So, and it's starting to look a little more. I'm starting to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. It's just starting to work out. So, yeah. So, other than that, on behalf of Terry and myself, thanks for tuning in, and remember, armor is built on hope. Bye.
The OR, you like it so far? Check the OR, you like it so far? Check the OR, you like it so far? Check the OR, you love the OR. Here we go, ready to set it off. From coast to coast, it's the most and it hits rough. Organized rhymes here to start it up. You got some trouble with your mouth, you better shut it up. Think twice before you act and try to tackle the funky stuff. I take your suckers out like meat on a shish kebab. And you don't know it, but your girl's doing kiss and rob. And you're the one who wants the corn, but you miss the cop. So here's a bit of something new. Give me a toot and salute, and I'll give you my boots. Where you need it while I'm playing the thespian. I got a ride and you're just a pedestrian. I grab a horse and I jump like equestrian. I talk smooth like Lando Calrissian. Deal with the leader of